Yes.
Yes. There we go. You talked about perseverance, being persistent in doing something despite the challenges. That is the meaning of perseverance. What if I keep hitting a brick wall? Do I tell myself at some point I have to stop? How will I know maybe this is not the path for me? When will I know that this is not the path for me? Would you answer that?
That's a great question, Janet. You know, all of us are marching towards our own destinies or destinations, isn't it? So,
Yes.
first of all, we need to identify what's our life's purpose. Why did we join this industry? That's the main thing. So, you know, once we realize the passion behind the purpose, nothing can stop you from reaching your goals. That's my learning. So what I was trying to point out with that first point, perseverance, one more try, is, you know, just like you exactly said, we hit brick walls often, many times.
Yeah.
You know, the majority of the people, or many of us, when we hit a brick wall, we say we can't see the next side. We can't see. You know, we stop and we, you know, quit. So the topic here is perseverance. One more try. Never quit. You know, if you know the passion behind your purpose, you know, that is our goal, our destination. So, and if that is added to some fuel, that the fuel is what you're doing right now, maybe in the insurance industry or any industry, you know, you're working and you know the destination, you know the milestones to achieve the destination. Brick walls or glass ceilings might come up often. It is our job to break and move forward. Otherwise, we fail. So, to the second point of your question, there are chances for many of us. Maybe that is not the right path. If that is not the right path, there is chances always to take a U-turn or make corrections. So that is also possible. But in my talk, the person who introduced me or recruited me to the business, you know, his perseverance, not my perseverance, made me to get into the industry. I rejected him many times. I stopped taking his calls after a week of his persistent follow-ups. Then again, you know, the passion behind his purpose, actually I say that way only, he knows the passion behind his purpose. That is why he was persistently following up on me. And one day I thought of meeting him. Actually, the meeting lasted for maybe the whole day. And in fact, he asked me certain questions, which actually helped me open up my closed minds. That was the whole topic about FIREWALK self-discovery. So that's coming to the next point. So here, what I'm trying to tell you is that, you know, we must find, I'm putting this point across to all attendees, find out, this is your action point today. What is your passion behind your purpose? That is your why. Once you find out your why, definitely you will find out steps to overcome all the obstacles, all the brick walls during your journey. So that's how you need to go ahead.
And probably one thing that I would, you know, specify with your experience with the gentleman who introduced this business to you is, it's not just his passion, but he also saw something in you. He saw your potential. I mean, you said that he was very persistent in wanting you to, in inviting you to come into the business. He must have seen something in you to say that, hey, this guy, he'll do very good in this business, right?
Exactly. See, same way we see the client perspective. When we prospect our clients, you know, we see opportunity to do big business or whatever, to make him as a client. So we keep on following up. This is the point which I would like to raise in front of all the advisors. If you know, no, we all make cold calling, right? Okay, so what happens when you do cold calling after some time? When you get rejections, many people say, oh, it's a brick wall coming always and I can't move forward. But if you know the 11th call which you're making today is going to give you a 100K business, are you willing to hear 10 no's? Nobody knows which call is going to give you the big business, right? Or the right client. So that means we have to scratch, this is just like a scratch and win. Scratch, you have to scratch all the people whom you meet, or you have to scratch all the numbers you get. You don't know when you're going to win. So that's how it is. So that enthusiasm we need to build within, and willing to take, never quit attitude.
Never quit attitude.
And as you said, no, you might have seen something in me. So that was the biggest point of motivation for him to keep on following up on me.
That's right.
So both ways it could be, useful. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, beneficial for both of you. On yours, point number 2 in your talk, you shared about your personal experience with firewalking. Now, for those who don't know what firewalking is, it is an act of walking barefoot over a bed of hot embers or stones. It has been practiced by many people and cultures in all parts of the world, with the earliest known reference dating to the Iron Age in India, circa 1200 BC. It is often used as a rite of passage, as a test of an individual's strength and courage, or a religion as a test of one's faith. Now, explain again how you used firewalking as a metaphor for an advisor to succeed in this career.
Firewalking, first of all, I don't, it's a disclaimer, it's a dangerous activity. So we don't encourage anyone to go and do it until or unless there is a particular reason for it. Yes, firewalking I did, in my earlier career days, maybe 20 years back. So when I was asked to do it, to experience the impossible, I first of all thought, firewalking, a barefooter walking over this, whatever so-called pole or whatever it is, it's not possible to me. This is just like when we were about to begin new ventures in our life or business or whatever it is, when we were about to do new things, somebody within us will tell us, hey, can you do it? It is impossible for you. It's a no way, can't do it. So suddenly we back up. This is what happens generally. During this activity, when I was there, as I mentioned in the talk, I saw people around me doing it. Then another thought came to my mind. If they can, I can. If they can, what is the difference between us? Maybe some mindset difference. So I am here to make a change in my life or to see my next level. So I must do it. That was a firm self-talk. If I can do it, if they can do it, I can. So if you can, Janet, I can. If I can, all of you can. So that self-talk gave me the power to move forward and take my first step. Always taking the first step is important. Immediately after doing that activity, I felt I did something which I thought was impossible. That means I sensed a bird flying out of my ear. That was my fear. Exactly, that's how I explain it to everyone. So generally, after firewalk, many people won't talk about it, or some people will experience this. Some people won't experience it. Why? Because many people does it because of influence of others. We see other people doing it just for the namesake, or I do it. I did it, but I did it from within. That's why I found out my impossible. And that helped me to move forward in life. And that helped me to reach where I am today. So FIREWALK was or is a good tool to uncover our fears. That's the way I present it. So fear of failure can be removed from us by using this tool.
And that was actually my next question, to use this activity and see this as people influencing us. But I think you've answered it. It is not to impress other people, but it is to tell ourselves that we can do it. And for us to be able to be consistent in going through the firewalks of our life, we have to believe in ourselves and know within ourselves that, hey, it's not because everybody is doing it, but because I can do it, right?
Exactly.
Great. Now, on your third point, in the power of questions, you shared the pattern of asking why first, followed by how, and then ending with what. So should my why be the center of everything I do? Like, not only in my practice, but also in my spiritual life, my relationship with my family and friends. Should it be the center? Should my why be the center?
Yeah, Jared, that's another great question which you are bringing it up. The power of questioning is a great tool. Again, we can use as advisors. At the same time, the why followed by how and then what. Okay, and we are the center. That's why. It's our why. That's correct. First, as I mentioned earlier, we must know the why. Okay, if you don't know the why, what is the why? I say passion behind our purpose. That is our why. If you don't know your why, you don't know where you are heading to. That's the first thing. In business, in personal life, you should know where you are heading to. If I don't know today, if you don't call me yesterday or fix this meeting, I don't know there is a why here. This is another why. So I won't act. So why followed by action, that's how to achieve that why. That means the next steps or the path towards achieving the why. And what stands for what is that final destination which you are going to achieve or which you are going to reach? That you have to see today. If you don't see today what you're going to achieve tomorrow, you will not take action. So it is very important to ask this question to all of us: why, how, what are you going to achieve? At the same time, I would like, a power of questioning. In the power of questioning, I would like to share again. The senior advisor asked me a question. Okay, that was so powerful. So that is why, again, that is the most important point here. The power of questioning. How committed? He asked me, how committed are you towards your family? For information, I was a negative person about insurance those days. He was asking me, how committed are you towards your family? Are you committed to them as long as you live or so long as they live? If I'm taken out of the picture today, how can I make sure my family will have a sound financial future? It's a great question to open up insurance, whatever products we sell.
Yeah.
So this will help the client to see their future. Okay, if I'm taken out of the picture today, what are the consequences your family will be going through tomorrow? Then keep quiet. Automatically, people will see that consequences. That is connecting an emotional scenario. Next question, if you're not there, you haven't done anything, what they will do. So, this type of soft questioning with spin, I hope you all know the spin technique of sales. If you don't know, please learn that. Very important. Spinning in front of the prospect, they open up their closed minds. That will help us to move forward and help them do perfect solutions for them. So power of questioning is that it is very important in our business to ask powerful questions. Learn questions like what I asked earlier, or learn questions like my senior or that senior advisor asked me, and keep ready with you. These are tools which helps you during our fact-finding process. So I hope you got the point.
Yes, definitely. And we are on the dot. 10:20, we are done. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Cherian John from Abu Dhabi, UAE, a 12-year qualifying and life member of the MDRT, and he spoke on MDRT Speaks. The title of his talk was FIREWALK to Success. Thank you very much, Cherian.
Thank you, Janet.
Yeah, so that was a lot. That was a lot. And our next speaker, our next guest is from Jakarta, Indonesia, an 8-year member with Court of the Table qualification. And he was on the MDRT annual meetings focus session. And his topic is on insurance as a dream guarantor for millennials. And somebody amongst our participants will be moderating the Q&A for you this morning, who is not a millennial.
No problem.
I specifically assigned her to you because she and I, both not millennials, would like to learn how to reach out to millennials. So ladies and gentlemen, we have Glen Winata and Wijatno from Philam Live. Take it away.
Thank you. Hi, Glen.
Hi, Glen. Thank you, Ms. Janet. Hi, Glen.
Hi.
Okay, so right now, this is one of the topics that really caught my my attention during the meeting. No? This is something that I also want to learn. I'm sure a lot of our audience also would like to hear about this. No? So first and foremost, Glen, can you please expound more about insurance as a dream guarantor for millennials?
All right. So, as we know that young generation or millennials, as we call it, actually they are usually wants to grow their wealth as fast as possible. Am I right? After they graduated from college, they got a job. The information now is already open, so you can learn how to invest in the market, in the cryptocurrency right now, right? And in different places, maybe like property, like now, property, you can invest a small part of it. You can buy, back on those days, you have to buy one property. If let's say you want to buy a house, you have to buy one house, right? But now we have a technology. One house can be bought by maybe 100 people. So that's the culture nowadays, right? So it is easier for us now to invest and to grow our wealth. But a lot of millennials forget to insure themselves first. Health care is really important for us, right? Because if let's say we invest our money directly to create our wealth, it's like we're building our wealth in the mud. The mud is not stable. It can collapse all the time. It's the same if we are not buying health insurance at first. If we buy health insurance, then we create our wealth. If something happens, we will definitely have our wealth. Our wealth will not go anywhere. Our asset is still there, right? But if we don't have health insurance, yes, maybe we have more assets than if we buy health insurance at first. But if something happened, we lost all of them, right? So that's the key point of my talk actually in the MDRT annual meeting.
Okay, thanks for that, Glenn. Right. So we have identified that millennials are people born between the years 1980 to 2000. Okay? So talagang we don't belong to that year anymore, Miss Janet. So in my personal opinion, it is less challenging for someone like you, a millennial, yourself, to approach prospects of your generation. So how would you advise the professionals of a more senior generation in their initial approach with these younger prospects?
Okay, I think that's an interesting question because you know what? I was first joined insurance industry when I was 22 years old. And my question is always, how can I approach senior generation? So it's always been a problem, right? Vice versa, always like that. So yeah, so back then when I approached my millennials friend, you know, they actually, if you're come from senior generation, you have more experience. Am I right? So you can say, based on my experience, you know, I have friends who are not buying insurance, and now they got sick, they lost everything. I think that's more powerful for young generation to hear from senior generation. But there's one problem. I think this is problem that happens to all households in the world. Actually, millennials or children doesn't want to listen their parents. Is that right?
Oh,
right? So, you know, why? Because parents usually they told the children, but not giving any example, right? Or not explaining why you should do this. So, so if you're approaching millennials, don't act as a parents, act as a friend, right? Tell them that, hey, you know, I'm your friend. I just want to tell you some stories. This is based on the fact, you know, I'm not your friend. I'm not pushing you to buy anything, you know, just act naturally, you know. And yeah, the one who actually explained insurance to me, that opened my eyes to become an insurance agent, is also from senior generation. Because he was told me that, you know, people always need insurance. Insurance will always developing, you know, it will never die, right? From people, if people still having a children, then insurance will not die, right? When people is still sick, insurance will not die. When people still die, insurance is there. So yeah, I think just act like a friend. Act like a friend. You can approach them. Yeah.
That's a very good tip. No? So don't act like a parent, but act like a friend. Don't lecture them, but inspire them. No, as what you've said, like our experiences, right, Glenn? So in your talk and during the annual meeting, we also heard that you really made use of a lot of stories.
Yeah.
Okay. So Glenn, I think it's also safe to say that even across cultures, almost all millennials have one similar mindset, and that's to keep building their wealth. So actually, even me personally, that's one of the challenges that I experience. You tell them about risk management first, but they really want to prioritize building their wealth. So what would be the best approach, or any best practices that really works on making the millennials understand the importance of building the foundation first of their financial plan through risk management?
Okay.
What do you think? What's that phrase or word or language that will really we can really get through that?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good question actually. You know, younger generation, they will tell us that, hey, I'm healthy, you know, right? I do sports, I exercise every day. I think I will not get sick. And yeah, I think I'll focus on building my wealth, on building my assets. You know, and I always tell story. As you say, Fian, I always tell story, and I'll give you the latest story. This is just 1 week ago. You know, we are now focusing on COVID-19, right? And in Indonesia, the situation is really bad. Like more than 50,000 people got positive yesterday, and almost all hospital is full. You know, almost oxygen is empty. It's bad in here. And people tend to tell me, what, Glenn, I don't want to buy insurance, because COVID-19, if we got COVID-19, then all we can do is stay at home. We cannot go to hospital because it's full. It's very full. And then I say, hey, don't forget, COVID-19 is only one of the disease, and it is temporary. I mean, maybe 1 year from now, 2 years, 3 years, we already got the medicine, right? And we also got a vaccine. And my friend said to me, this has happened like 3 months ago. And my friend tell me that, that's okay, Glenn. And I said, there is another disease that will still can get you, right? Like cancer, like heart attack and everything. And then she said, I'm still young, no worries about that, I'm building my house. That's what she said. I'm building my house. The progress is now 80% and I need a lot of money, So buying insurance is not on my list. Then I said, okay, it's up to you, because I'm already telling the story. And last week, she was diagnosed with cancer. Yes, it's true story, And then she said, "Then I want to buy insurance." I said, "I cannot, because you already got the cancer, right?" And then she said, "My house progress is stopped. 80% the progress, and now it's stopped." And I said, "That's why I tell you, the foundation of our life, of our asset, is insurance, health insurance. Then after that, you can buy all the thing you want. That's to make sure insurance as a dream guarantor for you. Your dream is to build a house, and insurance is a dream guarantor for you." That's the story. And I'm pretty sure when I tell this story to other friends, they will think, right? So I always do story, as you said, Philam. And that's the latest from my side. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the best strategy. It's really storytelling, right?
Yeah.
So with this pandemic, Glenn, I also, I see this pandemic as an eye opener to everyone.
Yeah.
Like what I always say to people, that there are 3 things that can happen to us, all of us, whatever age, whatever culture, whatever religion, right? It's one of these days we will all get old, get sick, and die.
Yes.
Right? But this pandemic proved that illness doesn't choose any age anymore, doesn't choose any culture. So like you, Glenn, I am one of those who really promote medical benefits, and this comes in 2 types: of critical illness and the healthcare.
Yes.
So one also of my dilemma now is, if a millennial is working on a budget, which one should I offer first? A critical illness insurance or a healthcare insurance?
Okay.
And why?
Yeah. So I think the foundation is for sure health insurance or healthcare insurance is for sure, because critical illness, they will not cover like accident, right? And then if sometimes, like in Indonesia, we have a dengue fever, right? And it's a very common disease in Indonesia. Like you got bit by a mosquito, we even don't know which mosquito it is, and then you got dengue fever, right? And then the bill is actually around $2,000 to $5,000, and it is not covered by critical illness, right? So if you have a budget, right, a small budget, just start first with the healthcare, then we can move on from there. I think that's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a very good point. But Glenn, if they have a current medical benefit, like from an employer, if they have any healthcare, then they can now proceed to having a critical illness.
Yeah, sure. But sometimes the health benefit they get from the company is not really good. I mean, you have to check. Some of them is okay, but some of them is not really good. So we have to check first. And if we got from the employer, right? Like my father's stories, when he retired, the employer will not pay for the benefit anymore. Right? So some of my clients, I advise like this. So why don't you buy a private health insurance and ask your company not to buy you a group health insurance, and the budget, you can give the budget to me and you add on. So some of my clients do that and they're happy with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Glenn. So, do you still have time, Ms. Janet? Do you have any questions? Okay. Glenn, how about this situation wherein millennial says, I'm still saving up for a goal. I want to buy a condo. I'm getting married. I want to start a business. If I set aside part of my savings to buy insurance, it will take me longer to reach my goals. So how can I start reaching my goals if I start using it for my insurance? So how should we?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. I think that's an objection I got almost every day, right? As you said, I want to buy this, I want to buy that, blah, 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 blah. As we know that in financial planner, we have some posts of our spending money, like we have savings, right? We have investment, and then we have insurance actually for emergency fund, right? And we have actually small part of it, actually it's small part, like 10% to have fun, right? In financial planner, we have that, right? So insurance money, you take it from having fun. So if your budget is limited, you take from having fun, just like this, like in my country, to get a S-charge insurance plan for millennials is around $100 a month. It's about like that. And millennials, they are love to buy coffee. Like I think in every place around the world, they love to buy coffee. They love to work in the cafe, right? And you know what? To buy 1 cup of coffee in Indonesia is around $3. Around $3. And in
Same here.
It's same, right? And in one day, they
Yeah.
can buy 2 or even 3 cups of coffee. Am I right? Right? If you buy 2 cup of coffee, that means $6. $6 times 30 is $180. It's more than enough to buy S-charge insurance plan, right? So I tell them, why don't you make more sacrifice so your life is safe? I don't say that you cannot have coffee, right? But you can make your own coffee, right? That will be cheaper for you. There's a lot of expenditure that actually millennials do because of the trend, right? Because of the trend that Cherian say that we don't use our money to impress people, right? But we have to impress ourselves, right? So there's a lot of things like t-shirt, like shoes, like a gadget and everything. Why don't we save a small part of our money, right? If you buy an iPhone with the installment, let's say $150 installment per month, it's considered cheap. But if you buy insurance, $100 is considered expensive. So yeah, we all have to open our client's mindset that this is the foundation of your life. That health insurance is the foundation of your life. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that, Glenn. With your sharing, one thing is very clear: all the ideas, even what age do we offer insurance, are just. But one of the things that I really got from you, it's the kind of approach that we need, not to use for millennials. So that's it's stuck in my mind now when you said don't act like a parent when you're an older one, but act like a friend. Like just sharing stories to them so they can really understand and appreciate what insurance can do. And lastly, Glenn, I just would like to ask, so since millennials are very keen on building their wealth, one of the plan that really attracts them right now in the market is the variable life insurance. So is it something that you also have I'm sure it's something that you also have in Indonesia, the variable life?
Yeah. You mean the one with a term, something like term life, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The unit link.
Unit link.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to ask your opinion too. So when you start building your foundation or your foundation for a financial plan in terms of risk management, which one would you recommend first? Would it be a variable or a unit link insurance wherein it comes with investment, but it also comes with a risk? Or would you position a guaranteed insurance in the form of a traditional, the ordinary life insurance?
Okay. So for me, all the products have pros and cons, right? So for example, like traditional, there's some products that the premium is increasing all over the time, right? You have also like fixed premium, but you have to pay more. Yeah, and if unit link, so let me tell you some story. In Indonesia, most of our product is unit link. So like in the past 3 or 4 years, the company start to launch the traditional product again. You know, so I've been working with unit link for a long time. So what I tell them, what I tell my clients about unit link, that this is not the investment you want. So let's say you're in Sun Life, in Pru Life, like in a Philam Life, right? So let's get some example like Philam Life maybe. So Philam Life is insurance company with investment on it. Am I right? Not an investment company with insurance in it, right? So the main goal is insurance. And the investment part is if, let's say, you are in emergency and you cannot pay the premium, then you can hold for temporary, right? Use your account, your investment to pay your premium. So the investment in unit link, you cannot use it for investment. It is not investment. So forget it. I mean, if you buy a unit link, this is just for insurance. And if you have more in investment, there's a bonus for you, right? So that's what I've been working around for like 8 years in my career. And nowadays there's term life. And I also ask them if they want a term life, because some of them are really good in investment and they are more conservative, right? So for those kind of clients, I give them the term. So both products have pros and cons. I think all products. Yeah.
Okay, I like what you said, Glenn, right? That's very true. The all products has its strengths and weaknesses. But if millennials are so keen about building their wealth, we just have to emphasize that BUL is not the investment that they're looking for. It's still insurance.
Exactly.
It's still insurance.
Yeah.
But here, it's the purpose of the investment is in case you cannot pay, then you can go on a premium holiday, and you don't have to worry because your protection will still continue.
Exactly.
Right.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Glenn. So thank you. So Miss Janet, do we have any questions from the audience?
Yes, we will accommodate questions from the chat box later on after our third speaker. So thank you so much. That was Glen Winata with our very own Vien Latonio from Philam. That was a very meaty 15-20 minutes talk. Now we move on to, again, the only rose in our three guest speakers. I don't want to say that Glen and Cherian are thorns because they're very good friends of mine. We have from Singapore, a 7-year member with Court of the Table qualification, Miss Nadia Wijatno, who spoke on MDRT Speaks about using qualitative approach to review your business. And with her from Pru Life of UK, we have assigned Mr. Louis Gimenez to ask the questions. Louis, Nadia, welcome.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for having me here.
You are most welcome, Nadia. Glad to have all three of you here. It's really, truly a privilege for everybody to listen in on all of your sharings. Now, Nadia, we have to admit that your segment in the MDRT conference, well, personally, it's one of my favorite talks that I listen to.
Oh,
and
thank you.
It's primarily because you touched on something that probably a lot of us don't really get to focus on, all right?
Right.
Which is, you know, the qualitative aspect of the business. As we all know,
Right.
I guess this is true for everybody across all countries, and you know, the different companies that we're with. It's such a metrics-driven business, right?
Exactly.
It's a numbers-driven business that sometimes we get lost in all of these numbers that we're looking at, the numbers that we're trying to attain, the targets that we want to achieve. But you touched on the qualitative aspect of managing the business. So when it comes to your qualitative reviews, know, it seems that you really have this sort of schedule when you do it, but how regularly do you do your qualitative review? Do you spend as much time doing that qualitative review as much as you devoting time when it comes to your quantitative reviews?
Thank you, Luis, for the question. Now, in the past, I would always have a planning day once a week. And I used to do it every Saturday, then I've shifted it to every Sunday. So I would set aside 2 hours per week. So what I would do is I would review back my schedule from the previous week. Who did I meet? What cases did I close? It's exactly like what I shared at MDRT Speaks. How many appointments did I have? How many referrals did I receive? I would do that every week. But after being in the business for a few years, you would notice that why is it that there are certain weeks you feel that you've been working very hard. You've had like maybe 15 or more appointments, but you just aren't closing any cases. Maybe you are, but not a lot. But you feel very tired, or you feel very miserable, or you feel very drained. I'm sure many of you, can relate at some point in your career. So that got me to thinking that there's something wrong in the way I analyze my business that needs a lot of tweaking. So that's when I decided to not just look at the numbers for its face value, but look what is beyond the numbers. Am I really meeting the right kind of people? So then I started to look at the profile of the people that I'm meeting. Like, do we click? Can I connect well with them? Do they even like me, or do they dread meeting me? Do I dread meeting them? Yeah. So I started to do that probably around 5th or 6th year in my business. And I can see that not only did I truly become more productive, but I became happier in my business as well. And it's not so much about working hard, but it became about working smart and being a very happy advisor. And when you're a happy advisor, your clients can feel it too. So it's like a cycle that repeats itself. Yeah. So to answer your question, how regular I do it, it's still once a week. About 2 hours. Yeah.
All right. So you actually answered the next question that I was about to ask, which is how much time you really spend on, reviewing your clients. And it's one of the points that you raised with your answer is that, it took you something like 5-6 years to really get into it. And I do believe it's what really helped you achieve court of the table status last year, right?
Definitely, yes.
So you also touched on something which is quite trivial to some of us, because we all know that we receive a lot of objections, we receive a lot of rejections, and we have been taught that you can try as many times as you can, do your best, as what Cherian also mentioned a while ago. But I do believe that some of us miss this important step that you mentioned in your talk, which is introspection. Asking yourself, what happened? Can you tell us how you go about that? What is the process that you go through when you do that introspection, that self-assessment of what you're supposed to do better rather than what you did wrong?
Yes, that's a great question, Luis. So what I like to do is, after I end an appointment, be it a good appointment or a not very good appointment, I would, if I'm outside pre-COVID, I would sit in my car. I would just basically go through the whole flow in my head. What did I say? How did the person react? And was I maybe talking too fast? Maybe I didn't explain something in detail. And I'll just basically replay the whole thing in my head and think to myself, what is it? What are some things that maybe I could have said to help him, to help the client make the decision on that day? Or did I maybe make an assumption I should not have? So and then something that I like to do is I like to call my staff, my personal assistant, and I rehash to her the whole appointment in my head. So this just happened, and then I said this, then the person reacted this way. But I think I shouldn't have done that. I think maybe I shouldn't have used this sort of presentation, or maybe I should have offered more options for this particular client. And I think I should have set more time, because in the end it felt too rushed, so he couldn't decide. So I like to do that at the end of every appointment. But if I can't, because of COVID, now everything's on Zoom, right? So a lot of the days we have back-to-back appointments, then I'll try to do it at the end of the day. I just I think it's important to spend, be it 30 minutes or 1 hour, just look back at your calendar and see, have a really good run through in your head. Who do you meet and the flow of the appointment, what could have been improved? Maybe you went off point, maybe you should have used an agenda, maybe you used the wrong presentation style. So I would say the best time to do it is right after it. Yeah.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. That's really important, and I think everybody here will promise to really make time to do that self-assessment, because it's such an essential thing to do, especially nowadays. Now, still linking it, you know, to of course appointments that didn't materialize, or appointments wherein you weren't able to really close the client or have the client sign up. After you've done, okay, that assessment or that qualitative review, what do you do next? Do you still stay in touch with the prospect? You know, do you have intentions of reaching out again in the future? If so, you know, how long do you give yourself before you reach out again to that same person? Can you walk us through that? You know, what's your strategy when it comes to those situations?
Sure. Now for this, I have learned the hard way. So in the past, okay, before I use the qualitative analysis, right? Basically, follow up means follow up. You say get back to you next week, I get back to you next week. You say get back to you next month, I'll get back to you next month. But next week becomes next month, next month becomes next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. So I had follow-ups as long as 3 years, but the client wasn't sincere to begin with. So by coming back to the qualitative aspect, right, because I think our values don't align, we cannot connect also. And for me, I also segmentize my clients, right? Your A, your B, and your C. So instead of thinking based on his income level and occupation, he should belong to an A, nah, he's probably a B or a C. Correct. So then I know I should not focus too much time on such prospect. I should focus more on the real A and B, who are responsible and who give me positive responses, who are serious about getting their financial planning done. So after you make this decision, what will happen is for those group that are in the C, normally I would delegate them out to my staff to do the follow-up. So there's still some basic servicing level that is done. But for you personally, at least you spend more time, more effort thinking of ways of how you can value add the group that really matter, who are the A and the B. Yeah.
All right. Wow, great points. It's such really an eye-opener, especially, you know, with the business climate nowadays, wherein, you know, the competition is really intense. You do know that, for example, for every person that you speak with, probably that person knows about 2-3 other financial advisors. But a great point that you made there, you just mentioned it, is that, you know, you put, you know, having similar values at the top of the totem pole when you're reviewing your clients. And, you know, maybe, and as you said, you know, a second priority would be what his or her job would be, you know, how much money they're making. That's such a great point that you made there. And it really will make everybody here think about that. Now, another question that I would like to ask you is, when you're doing that, of course, policy review with your existing client, okay? You also pointed out that aside from reminding and reviewing the client's policy, all of the benefits and what the reason is why this particular client got this plan, you also asked, you know, a few questions, and you really wanted to get feedback from the clients. How essential has this been, you know, when it comes to you getting repeat business from that client? And how essential has it been also, not only with repeat business, but this client giving you personal introductions to people that he feels, he or she believes that, you know, would really need your services? How has this helped your practice and your business?
I would say if there's one thing I wish I would have started in my early days in my career, it would be this. It would be asking for feedback from day one, from your very first client. Because many times, even though we do self-introspection, like your previous question, what you think you have done well may not be perceived the same way by the client. for example, when I started asking for feedback, right, the number one reply they would tell me is, you are very not pushy or not aggressive. And in my mind, I never thought that would be an outstanding quality that would make them want to work with me. I had no clue at all. So I think asking for feedback is super, super important. And it's pretty funny because at times when I do my self-review, when I worry that, oh my God, maybe I've overstepped, maybe I was too aggressive. But then after they became my client, I asked them this question. They tell me, no, you are not pushy at all. So you may think you're pushy, but they don't perceive it that way at all. So I think it's important to know your strength and what you're good at and how you are being perceived so that you know whatever you're doing is right. You just repeat it. And then because of this quality that your client appreciates in you, that's how they do repeat business. That's how you get referrals from them as well.
All right, wonderful, wonderful sharing. Thank you so much, Nadia.
Thank you.
Janet, I'm all out of questions, but I do believe we want the others, you know, to ask our resource speakers questions that they may have, at least for the next 5 or so minutes of our segment.
Yes, yes. We have comments actually, and one question posted in the chat box. And I think this was during Glen's segment. Either the children do not listen to us parents, or even the parents do not know, hence are not able to teach about these things, insurance and investments. So I guess that means, Glen, please, if you agree with me, it is not just informing or educating the millennials, but also the more senior generations about insurance and investments, about proper financial planning, right?
Yeah, I agree with you, Janet. So let me tell you some stories in my early days, you know, when I approach millennials, you know, they only can afford a small amount of premium. Of course, they're starting their business, they start working, so they can only afford small amount of premium. So in my first and second year, I thought, how can I approach bigger clients? Then I got an idea to approach their parents. So the millennials that are already my clients, I say to them, hey, I want to meet your parents. Will you make an appointment for me? Because you know why? If I go directly to parents, they will not hear from me. Hey, you're a young man. I more understand than you, right? So I asked my friends. Then, if you have already a children, and your children ask you to meet their friends, then you will say yes, right? And when I come, actually, I'm pretty surprised because some of them, they are not understand yet about the importance of insurance and also about the importance of life insurance and also investment. So yeah, I mean, as you said, Janet, it's correct, it's true that we need to also educate the senior generation that insurance is really important for them, and yeah, to make it align with the younger generation as well. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Janet.
Thank you, thank you. And we have one comment, and this is when Cherian was speaking about FIREWALK to success. She said, how is the action plan? Correct, Cherian?
Yep. Yes, Janet.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, before we get to how, we have to find out our why first. Okay, so I'm moving down the chat box. It's also said here, and this is highlighting what Glen just shared. Life insurance is a dream guarantor. That is beautiful. And foundation is healthcare insurance. There we go. There is a question here posted, and I would like to hear from all three of you. Is it best to do term rather than buying VUL, but over time, it would be more expensive? Would you like to comment on that? Let's go with Nadia first.
Yeah, okay. So Janet, for my case, right, from my experience, especially because of COVID-19, I've had clients who took up unit links like about 10 years ago, 5 years ago. And now because of what's happening, they either get a income, their income has dropped, or they have lost their jobs and they're running into financial difficulty, but their coverage is not affected. Their coverage is still guaranteed, as what Glenn mentioned. So, and in case they need money, they can make withdrawal from these policies. So I use this story to share with prospects who are contemplating, should I get term, invest the rest, or get a unit link? Then I'll let them know you have this benefit. Yeah, if it's a term plan, what if you lapse the policy? What if you cannot afford to pay and you lapse the policy, your coverage is gone? Your family doesn't have any backup funds. But if it's a unit link fund, at least a unit link policy, at least it has this feature. Yeah.
How about you, Cherian?
See, always when we compare term insurance with whole life insurance, we must pitch that term is a temporary scenario, just like renting a house. You pay the premium for a year, and if you don't renew it, that's gone. But when you look at the unit linked or the whole life propositions, take it as just like a mortgage payment for next 10 years. Once you finish your mortgage payment, what are you going to get? The ownership is transferred to you. You become the owner of the house. So does a whole life insurance can serve the client's whole term of the prospect or the client. So once you explain this difference, definitely majority of the people look into the whole life proposition of the business than term insurance. Also, term insurance in reality, the actual claims paid is less than 5%. So majority of the term insurance get lapsed. That's a possibility. There's a possibility for that. I hope I explained.
Yes, thank you. Glen?
Yep, I agree with Nadia and also Cherian. As I mentioned before, that all products have pros and cons. Yeah, I think what Nadia explained is very true. During this COVID-19, there's a lot of my clients also have financial difficulties, but their policy is still safe. So yeah, I agree with Nadia and Cherian as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question. I know I promised this will, will be done by 11, but this is, I think, a very important question, and it is addressed to all three of you. With a plethora of new age investment vehicles like crypto, Axie, etc., how can we still effectively leverage and teach our clients that insurance or protection should still form the foundation of their wealth building strategy, especially with a younger generation? They are so focused on short-term returns. Let's start with Glen.
All right, that's a very good question, actually. Simple answer, because no other instrument in this world can replace insurance. That's it, right? So if you talk about investment, you get profit like 100%, 200%, that's good, right? But if you're sick, the investment company will not pay for you, right? If you die, the investment company will not pay for you, right? In insurance, let's say, if you buy like $100 per month for young generation, right? It's about $1,200 a year for their policy plan. You got the benefit of around $200,000 a year, $200,000. So if this year you use $10,000, next year you will still get another $200,000 worth of medical bills, right? If you're in hospital and everything, you will be covered. And that $200,000 you'll get every year until your age of 99 years old. So every year you got the benefit of $200,000 if you are in hospital or need treatment in hospital, right? So no other instrument, even it's crypto, even it is money market and everything, there's no other instrument that can replace this. So I think that's the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Glen. Cherian?
Yeah, I agree to Glenn. It's a great question, and at the same time, he answered well. My view is, we must pitch diversification of assets or asset allocation. When we all need assets, fixed assets, instruments like bonds, guaranteed funds, or volatile funds. At the same time, you need an area where protection is needed. Protection is part of asset wealth management. Okay, to protect, the base is the protection. If you don't protect your today's income, how can you save above that? You're building an asset, you are building a wealth. So wealth cannot be built without protecting the person from earning his tomorrows. So that's the way we can support this question.
Wonderful, wonderful. Nadia?
I agree with Glenn and Cherian also. So if this is a client who is not so familiar with financial planning, I'll just ask a very simple question. Mr. Client, have you ever seen a ship or a boat without a life buoy? If today you're on a ship, you're carrying your money, your savings, your investment to go to a destination, would you go on it if there's no life buoy, if there's no lifeboat? What if you encounter a storm? What's going to happen? Now, in financial planning, we have to plan for the best case scenario and the worst case scenario so that your best case scenario is secured. I'll just keep it that short.
Wow. Yep. And the client will be asking you, where do I sign? Thank you so much. And that is, that's the only time we have for this. Thank you so much, my dear friends. Again, I would like to introduce our guests who are not only MDRT members, but they were speakers at the 2021 MDRT annual meeting. We had Cherian John from Abu Dhabi, UAE, 12-year qualifying and life member. We have Glen Winata from Jakarta, Indonesia, 8-year member with Court of the Table qualification, and Nadia Wijatno from Singapore, 7-year member with Court of the Table qualification. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate this. I would like, before we let everybody else go, I would like to acknowledge the participants who helped me organize this event this morning. We have Aurora Yao from Sun Life Financial, Gerald Andagan from Philam Life, Louis Gimenez from PruLife of UK, Mitzi Adlus from PruLife of UK, Shirley Lamoon from Sun Life Financial, and Viensolon Latonio from Philam Life, and yourself, Janet Nang from Sun Life. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much to everybody. May I request the participants and the guests to please stay on Zoom for a picture taking after everybody leaves, and everybody else, thank you for attending this morning's discussion. We are hoping to have more of this in the future. The objective is for everybody else to learn from MDRT members. So maraming salamat as well to everybody. Bye-bye.